Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to be restoring and customizing this rather beat up looking old Porsche Racing 935, and I'm going to be customizing it in the style of the Porsche 935 78 Moby Dick from Asetto Corsa, and then I'm going to see if I can manage to take it for a lap around the Nordschleife. Okay, so we'll take a closer look at our little Porsche here. Definitely seen better days, missing most of its paint there. It's got a plastic base on it, that's in good condition, just a bit dirty. Scruffy old wheels that are going to need to be replaced. And as you can see, a rock or something has gone into the front windscreen there and good and properly scrunched it. And here is our Moby Dick 935 from Asetto Corsa. It's the #1 racing livery. As you can see, it's got all those graphics on it, which I'm going to have to recreate, make some decals. This one's also a right-hand drive, whereas the Matchbox one's a left-hand drive. There's a roll cage in there. This car had a 3.2 litre water-cooled twin turbo, which was producing something like 800 horsepower. So back to our little Matchbox. I'll start out by drilling out these posts, and then I can take it all apart. There's the base, the interior, and the broken windscreen. That's not coming out, so I'm going to have to drill out that little rivet in the roof there, making sure I don't drill all the way through the roof. Now it pops out. It's pretty brittle, to make sure I don't break the rear windows. And there's our scruffy looking casting. I'll remove the Panda off of the bonnet, and then I use some paint stripper to remove that old chipped, worn out blue paint job. Once I'd rinsed all that off with some water, I use my Dremel and a wire wheel to give it a further clean up and burnishing, getting rid, of course, of the oxidation that's all over the metal and any remaining scraps of paint that are left on there. And here is how the casting looks after that process. Nice and clean and shiny. You can see the original rear end of a 935 poking out the back there under all that body work. Before I go on, I'm just going to cut out a new front windscreen to replace the old one and make sure that it fits. So I'm just sticking a piece of masking tape over the front of the broken windscreen. Then I'll mark around that with a pencil to give myself a blank of the shape of the windscreen. And Next I can take this off and I'll stick it onto a piece of transparent plastic. This is just cut out from some plastic packaging. Now I can cut that out and I'll just test fit it in the front of our 935. It's looking like it'll fit pretty well. Now I can put that aside until later. So I'll keep going working on the body of the car. You can see there's some casting lines at the rear here. And there's also a sort of a blob on the bonnet there. I use some needle files and some sandpaper just to clean these up a little bit. Here it is after that process, giving the whole thing a light sanding all over. I also use a 1.7mm drill and a 256 tap to drill and tap the posts there. Now the casting's ready for some paint, so it's given a couple of coats of nice clean white. So next I spent a good day or so on and off messing around in Photoshop and creating this set of decals based on the Moby Dick livery. They're not exactly the same, but then the car's not shaped exactly the same either. But I think these ended up looking pretty good for the purpose. I printed them on some clear decal paper and then sealed that with some Bonder spray, and then I apply them onto my car. And you'll notice I print out at least 4 copies of each decal that I'm going to need, because inevitably when you're printing your own ones you're going to mess one or two up, or a bit of the ink's going to rub off of one of them. And here they are, all applied to my little Porsche. Pretty pleased with those. I've also added some other little detailing like the door handles and the rear lights there, and it was all finished with some gloss varnish. Moving on to the base now. There's nothing really wrong with that, it's just a bit grubby. The suspension plate's not even really rusty. So I'll pop the old wheels and axles out, and I just gave it a fresh coat of black paint and then a very light dusting with silver weathering powder. Here's the left-hand drive interior. I customized this a little bit by swapping the steering wheel over and chopping out that passenger seat and adding a roll cage. And then I had a bit of fun hand detailing it, and I've put a little race harness in there. The scruffy old rear windows were given a good polishing with some plastic polish. They're a little bit yellowed as well. I maybe could have tried retro brighting them, but then I'm not sure how that will affect this quite brittle old plastic. And here are the wheels I'm going to be replacing those old worn out ones with. They're not exactly like the ones on the Asetto Porsche, but then I think they're going to look pretty cool. And I give them a red paint job. There they are with the tyres on. Okay, so that's all the hard work done. Here's all the bits of our little Porsche refurbished, repainted and ready to go back together. just before we take a look at the finished car, let's take a moment to look back and be reminded of what we started with. Our very play-worn looking little Porsche. These blue ones were produced from 1983 till 85. Let's see if we can clean it up a bit and get it back in shape for the racetrack. And here it is, our finished custom racing Porsche 935 Moby Dick style from Asetto Corsa. A hard played with car when we started. We've stripped it down, given it a good clean up, given the body a nice clean repaint, a new custom livery. The interior's been customized and reinforced with a roll cage, and of course those nice new low profile wheels on there. So I'm definitely pleased with how it came out. Those decals fitted on there really well, and those new low profile wheels and a bit of a lower stance make it look much more ready for the track. You can let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. So now it's just about time to take it to the track and see if I can survive a lap. But just before we do that, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my awesome Patreon supporters. Thanks heaps for continuing to support this show. I really appreciate it. Check out the link below if you'd like to help out as well. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. Okay, I'm back again. Thanks for hanging around. Here we are at Nürburgring in Germany. You can see it's winter at the moment. There's plenty of snow all over the trees. I'm ready to go in the 935. You can listen to that turbo there. It really kicks in at about 6 grand, and the car starts producing a lot of horsepower. It gets quite squirrely if you're not careful. If you put your foot down too much, the rear wheels just light up and you'll spin out. Okay, so we're into the onboard view. The lap starts about there. All the driver aids are off, and I'll see if I can get it round for a lap at a decent pace. So you can see that rev counter there. As soon as it gets up over 6 grand, it really starts kicking out the power, and you have to be really smooth on your steering and braking, otherwise the back of the car just spins out. You usually can't correct it fast enough. So coming through those tight little corners there, and I'm down into first gear. It's only at 4 speed and the gears are quite long, so you can really throw it down into first and second quite a lot. Keep those revs up and keep generating the power. Getting up to 250k here up the hill. Have to be really careful slowing down there, keeping it really smooth, and then back on the power. into top gear up over the crest here. Look at that speedo going up, making up to just a shade under 300 k's, and then I button off for this long left-hander there. Better driver, probably take that a bit faster, locking it up there. Quite often do that when I'm trying to slow down. Now back on the power through these curves here. It's quite freaky going through here fast. The rear wheel's lighting up a bit as you're losing traction on the bumps. Then braking hard into these tight corners here. Third, second, and down to first. Smooth as I can so I don't flick the rear of the car out. Trying to feel when I can afford to really put my foot back down again. Now I can go flat out again, up through the gears. Back down into third for this corner and braking quite hard and smooth. Down into second. Keeping it in second. Keeping those revs up so I've got the power there ready to go. It's easy to understeer around that corner. Back on the power. Smooth through here. Try not to clip the shoulders. You actually go quite fast through this section. Trying to carry as much speed as I can into this short little straight here, and then slowing back down. The tight left-hander. It's one of the tightest corners on the track. Maybe could apply a little bit more power through there, but I have to be careful not to spin the back of the car out. Back down again, waiting for those front wheels to grip, and then back on the power. This is another easy corner to spin out on. There used to be a little dip there, but I think they might have removed it actually. It used to really throw the rear of the car out if you weren't careful. But I haven't been noticing that so much lately. Okay, this is another tricky corner. If you don't slow down, you can easily go wide there and off the track. Now, this is another scary bit. Try and go full out through here. Some cars I can keep it planted, my foot down the whole way, but I have to button off a little bit on this 935. Again, a better driver, probably get more speed through there. You can really feel the car on the edge of grip. So down into third through this corner, and back on the power. Trying to get as much speed as I can through here. Probably even push that a little bit harder. Down into second, into this long right-hander, understeering a little bit there. Back under control, foot down. And slowing down for the carousel. Try and keep it tight. And smoothly accelerating out. Put your foot down too much, it's really easy to spin out there. So I'm keeping it in third up the hill, using those long gears. Down into second. I'm going to do a lot of this section in second gear. Keep those revs up and the power at hand. I actually find this section pretty tricky, especially in different cars. It's still a bit I'm learning to get the most speed through. I'm definitely not going to be taking on Jimmy Broadbent in a hurry, but you know, the more you drive, the more you learn. So quite long, sweeping, cambered corners through here. It's easy to pick up a bit too much speed and get overconfident and then understeer and slide straight off the track. The rear getting a bit squirrely there as I put a little bit too much power on coming out of that corner. It's so easy to do in this car. low winter sun glaring in our eyes as we come over that crest there. Now I can start speeding up a bit again. I think you can go pretty much flat out through here, but I'm not quite confident enough to do it in this car yet. Could maybe be pushing it harder through there, but nearly at the end of the lap, and I really don't want to mess it up into that last short carousel. Oh, nearly lost the back there, putting the power back on up the hill. A little bit messy there. Now we're coming back down the hill again. Power on smoothly into the straight, into top gear. Be able to wind our 935 right out. 320 kilometers an hour. The sound as we're under the bridge there, buttoning off a bit. Perhaps I'm buttoning off a bit early. I really don't want to mess this lap up. Down into second. Those last couple of corners. There we have it. A lap of the Nordschleife. Now Porsche 935. It's an alright time, 7:50. Not going to be winning any world records. Definitely great fun. So thanks heaps for watching. Something a bit different. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll be doing some more cars from Asetto Corsa in the future. Thanks heaps for watching, and I'll catch you next time.